350 million years ago, Earth looked less like a home and more like a nightmare.
In swampy thickets and heavy, breathless air, life crawled and buzzed on a scale we can barely imagine today.
On the ground, multi-legged monsters meters long scraped across the forest floor, armored like living tanks.
Above the swamps, dragonfly relatives with wingspans over 2 feet ruled the air, swift and deadly.
If you had walked here, you would not have been the predator. You would have been prey.
This was the late Carboniferous world, cloaked in vast coal forests, where insects grew far beyond modern limits.
Between roughly 300 and 320 million years ago, giant insects reached their peak, masters of the land and sky. One key reason was the air itself. Oxygen levels were much higher than today, a kind of rocket fuel for arthropod bodies. Insects breathe through tiny tubes, not lungs, so extra oxygen meant those tubes could supply much larger, more powerful bodies.
Freed from predators in the skies and drenched in oxygen-rich air, their size exploded, turning them into prehistoric giants. Giant dragonfly-like griffinflies became apex aerial predators, snatching anything smaller that dared to move. With lightning-fast wings and spiny legs, they turned the sky into a hunting ground, and almost nothing could escape. Beneath them, colossal millipede relatives slid like armored trains, grazing on dead plants and reshaping the forest floor.
Compared to their modern cousins, these insects were monsters, so large that some were nearly as wide as a human is tall.
It's easy to think of them as harmless bugs, but in this world, the insects were the ones to be afraid of. Powerful jaws and spines turned some of them into efficient killers, able to tear through softer prey with ease.
Their fossils appear in ancient coal deposits across what is now Europe, North America, and beyond. Buried in stone, their wings and exoskeletons tell us they were not rare freaks, but a common part of these ecosystems.
The delicate patterns of fossil wings show enormous spans, some approaching 70 centimeters across.
From stone, we can resurrect their story, rewinding evolution to a time when insects ruled the air. And then, they were gone. Some shrank, others vanished entirely, leaving behind. Why did this happen? What forced the kings of the prehistoric sky to bow and shrink? For decades, scientists searched for the culprit. Was it the climate, the air, or something far more deadly?
One idea focused on the atmosphere itself. As oxygen levels dropped from ancient highs,
During their golden age, oxygen may have reached levels far above today's 21%, then slowly fell, squeezing giants out. Insects can't simply grow ever bigger without enough oxygen. As the air thinned, their breathing systems ran into hard limits.
Climate itself shifted too. Swamps dried, ecosystems changed, and the stable paradise that nurtured giant insects began to crumble.
For a long time, the story seemed simple. Less oxygen, harsher climates, and the age of giant insects was over.
But then, a team at the University of California decided to test that story with one of the largest insect fossil studies ever.
they analyzed over 10,000 fossil insect wings, spanning hundreds of millions of years of evolution, to see how size truly changed over time.
At first, the data supported the classic idea. Giant insects grew large when oxygen was high and shrank as it fell. But later, the pattern broke. Oxygen climbed again, yet insects did not return to their former gigantic size. The question shifted from what shrank them to what stopped them from getting big again when conditions improved.
Around 150 million years ago, a new kind of hunter appeared in the skies. Small, agile, and covered in feathers.
The evolution of early birds changed everything above the treetops, adding fast, maneuverable predators to the aerial battlefield.
Once birds joined the hunt, giant insects became obvious prey, huge snacks silhouetted against the sky.
The fossil record suggests that as birds diversified and improved their flying skills, the maximum size of insects.
It looked as if a new kind of predator had placed a hard ceiling on how big insects could afford to be.
Natural selection favored insects that were smaller, faster, and better at dodging agile predators, and punished those that stayed slow and huge. Being small meant you could hide in foliage, accelerate quickly, and slip through gaps where a giant body could never go. The story became one of competition and predation, a classic arms race between hunters and the hunted, written in bone and stone. First, oxygen and climate allowed giants. Later, birds and other aerial predators rewrote the rules of what was safe in the skies.
They weren't alone either. Small pterosaurs and early birds both likely snapped up insects.
For a clumsy giant, every turn was a struggle. For a sleek bird, the same forest became a three-dimensional hunting maze.
Once locked in a predator's sight, size turned from an advantage into a glowing target sign.
A single strike could tear delicate wings, sending a giant crashing to the forest floor.
We rarely see predators and prey fossilized together, but the timing of their histories hints at an invisible war that reshaped the skies.
In reality, it wasn't one single cause or one dramatic event, but a mix of changing air, shifting habitats, and new
Over millions of years, the reign of the giant insects faded, not overnight, but step by quiet step. Today's dragonflies are tiny compared to their ancient relatives, but they are agile survivors, honed by countless generations of pressure.
Where Meganeura once stretched over 2 feet across, most modern dragonflies fit comfortably in the palm of your hand.
The struggle continues today. Birds still hunt insects in the air, repeating a battle that began in the age of dinosaurs.
Every tiny bug snapped up mid-flight echoes the same story. Predators shape what can live and how big it can grow.
Oxygen still matters. There's a reason we don't see insects as big as cars. Their breathing systems simply can't support it in today's air.
Even if oxygen rose again, it's not guaranteed we'd get giant bugs back. Predators, competition, and ecosystems are different now.
We've changed the world in ways ancient insects never had to face. If giants ever did...
Some scientists speculate that under the right conditions, larger insects could evolve again, though probably not the nightmare titans of the past.
Still, it's hard not to imagine walking those ancient forests, hearing enormous wings buzz overhead, and feeling very, very small.
Imagine the sound, deep, throbbing wing beats, leaves shuddering with each pass of a predator bigger than your head.
You might never see them clearly before they struck. Only the ripples and shadows would warn you, if they warned you at all.
For the insects themselves, the nightmare came from above, the sudden appearance of sharp-eyed hunters that turned the tables.
As birds evolved stronger wings, sharper vision, and better maneuverability, the safe space for big, slow
Evolution isn't just what the environment allows. It's also what other creatures forbid by hunting, competing, and surviving. Today, the giants are gone, but their story lingers in the rocks, the genes of their tiny...
Every fossil wing we dig up is a snapshot of that long war between air, climate, bodies, and the predators that tested them.
Mounted in museums, models of giant insects feel almost like fantasy, yet their existence is...
For some, that glimpse of an ancient monster might spark a question, a fascination, or even a future in science.
Thanks to studies measuring thousands of fossil wings, we now know the truth is richer than a single cause.
Oxygen helped create the giants. Climate shifts nudged them. But the rise of birds slammed the door on their return.
What we see in the rock record is not a single villain, but a complex story where air, earth, and life all had a hand.
In drawers and cabinets around the world, the quiet remains of these giants wait for us to ask better questions.
Each new technique, each new analysis sharpens our view of their world and of the forces that ended it.
We now dominate this planet in ways giant insects never did. But we, too.
From giant bugs to birds to us, life keeps rewriting itself, testing the boundaries of what's possible and what isn't.
So when you picture that prehistoric nightmare world, remember, those giant insects weren't just monsters.
But even champions can fall once something faster, sharper, and hungrier learns to hunt them.
In the end, it wasn't just the air that changed. It was the arrival of new hunters that finally cut giants down to size.